Welcome back to another deep dive. Today we are opening up a file that, I'll be honest, looks incredibly dry on the label. We are talking about SAP SD partner determination. Now,
Well,
I know, you hear partner determination, and you probably want to just, hit the skip button.
I get it.
But stick with us because the research we're covering today argues that this one specific piece of logic is, well, it's basically the constitutional law of how global business actually works.
It really is. It sounds like super technical jargon, but it's actually the invisible framework. It decides who gets paid, who gets sued, and where the truck actually goes.
To set the stage, I want to take it way back.
Yeah.
Picture a lemonade stand.
Okay.
You've got a kid behind a card table. You walk up, you ask for a cup, you drink it, and you hand the kid, what, a quarter?
The classic business model. Simple.
Right. But think about the actors in that scene. The person negotiating the price, that's you. The person drinking the lemonade,
Also you?
also you. And the person paying, you again. It's one entity playing every single role.
Exactly. But in the enterprise world, the world these source documents are talking about, that model it completely falls apart.
It does.
When you're dealing with a B2B transaction, the customer is almost never a single person or even a single building.
That's what jumped out at me in the reading. You might have a corporate headquarters in New York negotiating the whole contract, but
Yeah.
the goods need to be shipped to a factory in Ohio. The invoice has to go to a shared service center in, Poland.
Right.
And the actual payment gets wired from a holding company in the Caymans.
And if your system just treats all of those as the customer, you're heading for a disaster.
Yeah.
We're talking trucks showing up at a corporate office skyrise instead of a loading dock, or invoices being rejected because they have the wrong tax ID.
So partner determination is basically the system's way of keeping all these different personalities straight.
That's a really good way to put it. It's the logic that splits the customer into these specific functional roles. The source material calls this moving from a junior understanding, where a customer is just a name, to a senior understanding.
Where a customer is a complex network of relationships.
Exactly.
Let's get into that senior mindset then. The sources use this great metaphor of a casting call for the first part, which is setting up the master data.
Yes. Think of the customer master data as pre-production on a movie set. You're not filming the scene yet, you're just deciding who is allowed to be in the movie. You're defining the pool of available actors.
Okay, so let's look at the cast list. The documents really highlight the big four partner functions. First up, we have the sold to party.
The sold to is your lead actor, the star. This is the entity that places the order and, critically, the one that owns the master data record. So when you set up pricing or discounts where you analyze sales history, you're almost always hanging that data on the sold to party. They're the legal entity saying, I want to buy this.
Okay, but then we have the ship to party. Now, to me, this seems like it should just be a field on the sold to's profile. Why does it need to be a whole separate partner?
Because of scale. It's the whole one-to-many problem. Imagine you're selling to Walmart. Walmart corporate sold, that's one entity.
Right.
But they have thousands of stores. Each one of those stores is a ship to party. If you just made the address a text field on the main account, you'd have a database nightmare.
Oh, okay.
You need to be able to analyze things like how much did we ship to the store in Austin versus the one in Seattle, even though the bill goes to the same headquarters.
That makes perfect sense. The sold to is the brain. The ship to is the body where the stuff actually lands. Then we've got the bill to party.
Right. This is who receives the invoice. And this creates a lot of confusion for people new to SAP. They just assume the person who bought it, the sold to, should get the bill.
But that's not how it works.
Not in big companies, no. The people buying the widgets have nothing to do with paying for them. The bill to party might be a third-party processing center that literally does nothing but scan invoices. If you send the bill to the factory, to the ship to, it'll just sit on a forklift driver's desk and you'll never get paid.
And finally, the payer. This is the one that confused me the most. I mean, if I have a bill to party, why do I need a separate payer? Isn't the person getting the bill the one paying it?
Not necessarily. And this is where we get into the financial weeds, specifically when it comes to risk. The payer is the wallet. It's the entity we check credit against.
Ah, so this is all about credit limits.
Precisely. You might have a big conglomerate with 10 different subsidiaries acting as sold to parties. They all buy their own stuff. But the parent company says, hey, we're backing all of them with one central bank account.
So you map all of them to one payer.
Exactly. That way, when subsidiary A buys $1 million of product, it eats into the credit limit of the entire group. If you didn't separate that payer role, you wouldn't be able to track that aggregate risk at all.
Okay, so we've got our four main actors: sold to, shipped to, billed to, payer. The sources mention that the system is designed to automate all this so users don't screw it up.
Right. This is the hierarchy of logic. It's
Right.
really a preventative control. When a sales rep types in the sold to number for Walmart, the system instantly looks at that casting call, the master data. If there's only one ship to assigned, it just auto-populates. The user might not even see it happen.
And if there are multiple, like the thousands of Walmart stores example,
Then the system throws a pop-up. It basically says, okay, you want to sell to Walmart, but which location? And the user has to pick from the list.
but they can't just type in some random address.
No.
Hmm.
And that is so key. If the system says no partner found, it throws an error. It stops the transaction cold. It's like a bouncer at a club. If you aren't on the list, you are not getting into this order.
Which brings us to the next segment. The casting call is done. We've picked our actors. Now the director yells, "Action!" and we're in the sales order. This is where theory hits transactional reality.
And this is a critical transition. The master data is static. It's the menu of options. The sales order is dynamic. It's what we're actually ordering right now, today. And the sources bring up a concept here they call the dirty source principle.
It sounds like a spy thriller term.
Well, it's definitely dangerous. The sales order is the source of truth for everything that comes after it, shipping and billing. If the data is dirty here, if you have the wrong tax code or the wrong address, it just contaminates the entire downstream chain.
So once the actors are on stage in the sales order, can we change them? Can I just decide halfway through I want a different payer?
That depends on the role, and this is where a senior consultant really earns their paycheck. They have to decide what to lock down. Take the sold to party. The sources are very, very clear on this. Once you enter it, it is effectively set in stone.
Why? I mean, if I made a mistake, why can't I just swap it out?
Because the sold to determines everything else. Pricing, discounts, tax rules, currency. If you change the sold to, the system basically has to wipe the entire order and start over anyway.
So that field is just grayed out.
Usually. If you pick the wrong customer, you cancel the order and you start again.
What about the payer? I'm guessing that's sensitive because of the credit check we talked about earlier.
Extremely sensitive.
Yeah.
There's a classic fraud scenario that the notes mention. Imagine a sales rep has a customer who is maxed out on their credit. The system has blocked them.
So they can't place an order.
Right. But if that payer field is changeable, a crafty sales rep might just swap out the blocked payer for a different clean payer, maybe a dummy account or a different branch.
Oh, I see.
The system runs the check on the clean payer, gives the green light, and the order saves.
And then they just swap it back later.
Maybe. Or they just leave it, and the invoice goes to the wrong company, creating this huge mess for finance to clean up. A senior consultant knows this trick, so they configure the system to make that payer field uneditable for most users.
But you can't lock everything down, right? The notes mention the ship to party has to be flexible.
Yes, exactly. Logistics is the one area where reality is always messy. Maybe you usually ship to the main warehouse, but for this one urgent order, the customer needs it dropped at a construction site. You have to allow that kind of change.
There was a specific example of this, the distributor model. Can you walk us through that one?
Oh yeah, this is super common. You're selling to a distributor that's you're sold to. They're the one paying you,
Okay.
but they don't want to ever touch the product. They want you to drop ship it directly to their customer.
So the sold to is the distributor, but the ship to is someone completely different.
Exactly. The ship to is the end consumer. Now, here's the design challenge. Do you let the sales rep just type in that address manually?
Yeah.
Or do you require the distributor to provide a pre-approved list of their customers beforehand?
I'm guessing the senior answer is the pre-approved list.
Always. You want to select from a list of partners that are already signed to that distributor. If you let users type in free text addresses, you end up with 153 Main State on one order and 123 Main Street on another. The system sees those as two different places, and your analytics are just ruined.
Okay, moving down the river. The order is booked. Now the plot thickens because the whole transaction splits. We're in segment 3, delivery and billing.
This is the great divide. Up until now, everything was in one document. Now the process splits into two parallel universes. Logistics, which is the delivery, and finance, the invoice. And they have very different priorities.
Let's start with logistics, the delivery document.
The delivery cares about one thing: execution. Weights, volumes, routes. The warehouse manager doesn't care who is paying the bill. They care where the truck is going.
So the key partners are.
The ship to and the forwarding agent. That's the carrier, the trucking company.
The sources mentioned a horror story here about the split. What exactly causes a delivery split?
This is a massive headache in SAP projects. Imagine you have a sales order with 2 line items. Both are going to the same ship to address. You want them to go on one truck? Right. One shipping cost.
Makes sense.
But the system runs a check. It compares all the partner fields on the items. And if, for some reason, item A has a different ship-to-partner number than item B, even if the address looks exactly the same, the system says, nope, these are different destinations. It forces a split.
So you get 2 delivery documents.
2 deliveries,
Oh.
2 picking requests, 2 trucks showing up at the dock, and double the freight cost. I have seen companies just bleed money because their partner determination logic was causing all these unnecessary splits.
That sounds incredibly expensive. Now let's look at the other side of the divide, billing. The notes say this is the strictest phase of all.
It has to be. Billing is the financial truth. Once an invoice is generated, it's not just a piece of paper. It's a legal tax document and a request for payment.
And the sources say the partners are frozen here?
Completely frozen. In the sales order, you could maybe tweak things. In the delivery, you can change the truck driver. But once that invoice is saved, you cannot edit the payer or the bill to party, period.
Why so rigid? What if I just made a typo?
Because of the general ledger. When you save an invoice, SAP posts a debit to an account in the background. It creates a financial audit trail. If you were allowed to just open the invoice and change the payer from company A to company B, you would break the link to that accounting document. You'd have a debit on one account and an invoice with a different name on it. Auditors go to jail for that kind of stuff.
So if you send an invoice to the wrong company, there's no undo button.
There is no edit button. The only fix is what you might call the nuclear option. You have to cancel the invoice, which creates a credit memo to zero out the debt, and then you create a brand new invoice with the correct data. It's painful, it looks unprofessional to the customer, but it preserves the sanctity of that audit trail.
That really drives home why getting it right upstream in the casting call is so important.
Exactly. Get the master data right, and the invoice is just a mathematical inevitability. Get the master data wrong, and the invoice becomes a crime scene.
I want to zoom in on something you mentioned about the data flowing downstream. The outline calls this the plumbing, or copy control.
This is the technical heart of the whole thing. Copy control is the set of rules that tells the system how to move data from the order to the delivery and then to the invoice. It's the river the data swims in.
And this is where a lot of the junior mistakes happen.
Oh, constantly.
Wow.
A common junior mistake is overloading the delivery. A consultant thinks, I want to be safe, so I'll copy all the partners from the order to the delivery. They copy the bill to, the payer, the sales employee, everything.
Why is that bad? Isn't more data better?
Not in SAP. Remember the split logic we just talked about?
Mm-hmm.
The system splits deliveries if any header partner is different. So if you copy the bill to party into the delivery header, and you have an order where 2 items have different bill to parties, maybe different cost centers, the system will force a delivery split.
Even though the goods are going to the exact same place.
Exactly. You just split a truck shipment because of a billing address difference that the truck driver could not possibly care less about.
Yeah.
A senior consultant knows. Only copy the partners the delivery needs. Ship to and carrier, leave the finance partners behind.
That's a great, tangible example. There's one more specific risk mentioned, the one-time customer, or CPD.
Ah, yes, the CPD account. This is basically the guest checkout on a website. Use it for a walk-in customer you'll probably never see again. You don't want to create a whole master record for them.
So you just use a generic dummy customer number.
Right. But here's the trap. Since it's a dummy record, it has no real address stored. If you allow a CPD account to be a payer, but you don't configure the system to force the user to type in an address.
You generate an invoice with no address on it.
And the tax man hates that.
I'm sure.
Hate is a mild word. In many countries, a VAT invoice without a valid recipient address is just illegal. It's void. You can't collect the tax. So a senior consultant sets a flag that says, if the partner is a CPD, force a pop-up address window. It physically prevents the user from saving until they type something in.
It really feels like this entire topic just boils down to a philosophy of design. Segment 5 compares the senior versus junior mindset.
It's the difference between firefighting and fire prevention. A junior consultant learns how to fix partner issues in a specific order. They know which buttons to click to override the error so the truck can leave today.
And they feel like a hero.
They feel like heroes because they solved the immediate problem. But the senior consultant asks, why was the error even possible in the first place? They go back to the casting call. They design the rules so that the error is mathematically impossible to make. They prefer a system that blocks you from doing the wrong thing, rather than a system that just lets you do whatever you want and fix it later.
The sources characterize this as loose versus tight systems.
Right. And here's the paradox. Users, especially sales reps, they love a loose system. They want to be able to type in any address, override any payer, just get the deal done. They'll tell you a tight system is broken because it stops them.
But the back office loves the tight system.
They sleep better at night. A loose system generates speed up front, but creates billing errors, shipping returns, and audit failures weeks down the road. A tight system is, sure, annoying at first. Users complain about forced data entry, but it results in a boring, predictable, stable business.
And as we always say, in ERP, boring is profitable.
Boring is beautiful.
So let's wrap this up. We've gone from the casting call all the way to the final frozen invoice. We've seen how a single field setting can split a truck in half or get you audited. What is the big takeaway here?
I think the summary is that partner determination isn't just data entry, it's the execution control of your business. It starts flexible during the negotiation phase, the sales order, where you can accommodate business needs. But as it moves downstream, it must become more and more rigid.
Start flexible and rigid.
Yes. And always remember that. Mental model. Customer masters the cast. Sales order is the play. If you cast the wrong actors, the play is going to be a disaster, no matter how good the script is. You can't fix a bad casting decision once the cameras are rolling.
I want to leave everyone with a thought from the very end of our reading. We often walk around thinking that we are in control of our business transactions, that as managers, we decide who gets paid and when.
But actually, it's these invisible control gates, these determination procedures running in the background, that are really deciding if the invoice gets posted or if the truck even leaves the dock.
And if that constitutional law is weak, the state collapses.
And you usually don't realize it until the trucks are already at the wrong building.
On that cheery note, thanks for listening to this deep dive into SAP SD partner determination. Check your master data, people. We'll catch you on the next one.